do that. Cool. 3, 2. Bills, Bears, Colts, Packers, 49ers. Which wide receiver are we taking? We're going to figure it out today because we have some questions on these rooms. Yo, what's happening, everybody? Too Much Fantasy Football coming back for another episode. It's Brian, it's Brennan, and today we're diving into some wide receiver rooms. We'll leave you with some question marks there. How you doing today, man?
No, just passing the days by till we get to, training camp and then, preseason and regular season. So just twiddle my thumbs over here.
Absolutely. I'm just scrolling through all of the videos of OTAs, just getting way too excited about players that I know I shouldn't. But yeah, you gotta let you tease them a little bit.
Camp hype is the greatest thing ever and also the worst thing ever.
It totally is. And that's the best thing about best ball is you can take advantage of those sometimes. Or, you could be taken advantage of with some of that.
Yeah, like Nick Chubb squatting 600 pounds last year. I was like, I'm in.
Gotta watch the videos, folks. Watch out for them.
Yep.
Before we get into this episode, we've got some retirements going on. Just a little bit of news here. What do we have that's been dropping on us recently?
Pretty big one. Frank Ragnow retired, and he was kind of like the focal point that Detroit offensive line's line, and I think everyone kind of takes a hit with that. I think it's going to be like one of those trickle down effects. So, are you in the same assumption that there's going to be some regression with this Lions team?
I am, and I don't want it to be a part of just hopping on the big. It seems like there's a pretty big bandwagons as far as like that, and then just the O lines are still going to be strong. I don't feel like there's too many people that are sitting in the middle, so I don't want to make it feel like I'm the extreme. Just that I think this team's going to completely fall apart. But we're going to see some just regression in all sorts of areas. We lost both the coordinators there. In the head coach there, Dan Campbell, he's a defensive guy. So, like, it's not him that's going to be calling the plays. Granted, they've got somebody who's been in the system. He's going to be running something similar, yada, yada, yada. But this team has changed. It's going to be very different. They have a lot harder schedule this year. I think we're going to see some growing pains with the Lions.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, obviously, play the games where Jared Goff is playing indoors. Those are great. And he's outdoors. Don't play him at all.
Absolutely. What else do we have as far as news? Anything else really pressing?
Stephon Diggs showed up to camp, and he's not cut. I know that was some speculation because he likes to party. Who doesn't, but he showed up to camp, and he's ready to go.
He's looking good out there, too. Especially, removed from the ACL, was 31 years old. I've clicked it on the best ball just a few times. I do love Drake May in best balls this year, so give me a few stacks, just a few.
Best ball is fine. Like, take your chances on that. Redraft, I will probably tell you guys that's going to be a no-go for me just because of past experiences with injured players going into the season. I just don't think it's just not going to tend well for you.
And folks, the reason I play in so many fantasy leagues, it's so I can play dangerously. I'm gonna dip the toe in a couple leagues, maybe just one, but I gotta get a taste of this pink powder that he's playing with. Alrighty, so let's get into these wild wide receiver rooms that we're heading into. Look at that, going full Western for this one, because yes, it's wild out there. These teams we're going to touch on, I haven't clicked a lot of them in best ball, I guess is what it is. A couple of these teams, obviously, we know are going to be high-powered. I guess most of these teams should be high-powered offenses, but let's go ahead and dabble into the Bills here. So at the time of this recording, we got Khalil Shakir going as wide receiver 44, Keon Coleman going as wide receiver 55. You got Josh Palmer, a new addition to the team, wide receiver 64. And then the tight end, I threw him in, Dalton Kincaid, going at tight end 14. Just first response here to this team. What are you taking away here?
Woof. I honestly, it's just one of those situations where I have drafted a ton of Khalil Shakir. He just got the bag. I think he's been the most steady, reliable target for this team for Josh Allen. Everyone was hoping Kincaid would be that, like we were beating the drum, you and I were like, you need a top 5 tight end, and Kincaid was a part of that top 5 group. And we were like, this is his chance to break out. It's a sophomore season. Everyone usually progresses in that matter. But it was a dud. It was a letdown. You probably were really upset drafting him. I would say for me, how I break this down for this group is Khalil Shakir for full point PPR. You can gamble Keon Coleman in a half point, and then Kincaid. I mean, you can kind of wait to draft him. I think there's other guys I like more that we'll talk about here as a tight end, but I'm kind of out on Kincaid.
Yeah, it's very different the way I'm looking at these wide receivers. So I guess as far as like best ball goes, Khalil Shakir, if you're going more of like a hero wide receiver build, you've got one stud wide receiver and you're loading up and running back, maybe your one-off positions like your quarterback, tight end. Khalil Shakir is a good addition because he's consistent, especially in PPR. He's not going to blow the roof off every week, but he'll have that consistency, get you some points. He won't, drop you a dud for the most part. And Keon Coleman's the complete opposite. You're getting him a little bit later, but this guy was 5th in go routes last year. 27% of his routes were go routes. He was also in first in yards after the catch, above expectation per reception. So a lot to unpack just in that little thing, but just will he have that success this year? You're not always going to break away the big ones. Just like everybody's calling for some regression on Saquon as far as how many 40 and 60-yard runs he had last year. It's probably going to get pulled back a little bit. So that's where his success was, and it was to that degree. So I just don't find myself going that direction. And redraft Khalil Shakir, I'll take him in a PPR league. Dalton Kincaid, though. My argument for him is the age that we see the highest amount of tight end one finishes is the 25th year, like 25 years old. Guess how old he is? Come on, guess.
25.
He's 25. He also saw 7 end zone targets over his first 2 years in the league, and Foster Moreau got that just last year alone. So take that for what you will. I don't know how many times I'm actually
being compared to Foster Moreau is something, though.
Yeah, no kidding. A nice little dig on that one.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I might get a small, minute share of him this year, but just for the fact of like that's when tight ends break out. It's year 3, it's year 4, it's year 5 for some of these guys. So I'll play with that a little bit just because it's ADP tight end 14. Yeah, that's where I draft tight ends.
Yeah, it's about where I draft tight ends too. So I'm kind of with you on that part. I mean, for me, Josh Palmer's we've seen what he is like for the Chargers. Like he's a perfect wide receiver 3 in an NFL system. He's not a fantasy starter, and that's really it. For Keon Coleman, for me, like I didn't see anything last year where I was just like I was wowed about. I didn't see anything where it was just like, okay, there's something there. Like at FSU, he had a really good spark with Jordan Travis as his quarterback, but I think Jordan Travis had a really good season for college football standards. I don't know that's going to, progress well. Usually for wide receivers, it's their sophomore season where they also progress as well. And you are getting a discount for guys because that's who usually I'd like to target, guys who are in their second season. Usually they take that leap, like JSN, for example, last year. So, but I'm probably leaning towards out on Keon Coleman just because at the end of the day, Josh Allen's throwing the football, and Josh Allen was good with Stephon Diggs for those years, but Stephon Diggs is also an elite talent. And I just don't think any of these guys are an elite talent where he's just going to hone in on.
Yeah, I agree. I think the best case scenario for him is those 16 touchdowns that went to James Cook last year that we're thinking he may be closer to that 8 to 12 range this year. Hopefully those filter more to the wide receivers, and Keon Coleman he could be beneficiary of some of those, but we'll see. Off to the Bears.
Yeah. If you have one question for you, which one beats their ADP?
Khalil Shakir, he's at wide receiver 44. I mean, that's not going to be too hard for him to beat. He finished at wide receiver 37 last year. Just consistency alone, as long as he's out there, I feel like he could beat it.
All right.
What about you? Who you got?
I think Keon Coleman can. I think 55's pretty high. I think they will try to target him a little more in the system. I think he can finish around like wide receiver 45.
I think you're just not going to like the way he does it.
Yeah.
A couple of big games where he gets those big 80-yard touchdowns.
And
but to me, that's just as bad as a wide receiver 60, just because of that. Unless you're best ball. Best ball, you are getting the boom bust. Dalton Kincaid, I think he can beat his ADP. He'll finish top 12.
That's not hard to do, but yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of
it doesn't take much. 50 yards and maybe a touchdown here and there.
Maybe it's a cheat comment, folks. Who knows? You got to shoot for all of them.
Yeah.
All right, off to Chicago. Let's talk about some Bears. We got DJ Moore. Change the graphic, Brian. Come on, get it together. We got DJ Moore, wide receiver 23. Odunze. We talked to a couple experts on the few episodes ago, and we had very different outputs from those guys. But Odunze is going to be wide receiver 34. Luther Burden, rookie, wide receiver 51. And then the rookie Colson Loveland, tight end 10.
I can't believe Loveland's tight end 10. That's
rich.
A little rich for me. Like that, I'll tell folks right now, I can't see Loveland finishing as tight end 10. I know it's like Ben Johnson, Sam Laporta, rookie season. Cole Kmet is there, and he is a pretty decent tight end. He's not bad by any means. So there's a lot of mouths to feed, and I think if you draft Loveland as tight end 10, you will be burned.
Yeah. Yeah, I want nothing to do with him from his ADP. I mean, Cole Kmet's still there. You know, he ruined some of the wide receiver action last year just because he goes on his stint of just touchdowns. So, Colson Loveland, I'm very much out on at this point. I don't think I'm going to miss out on. I mean, maybe I'll miss out on the tight end one. Maybe just rookie tight ends are going to consistently take that tight end one spot from here on out.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bet against it. Wide receivers, we got DJ Moore at wide receiver 23. Last year he finished at wide receiver 14. I don't feel like it feels like that's where he finishes, though, when he gets these top 24 finishes.
It's weird. Like, he's finished like in the top 20 for most of his career, right? In fantasy. Yeah. It's crazy to see. You're getting DJ Moore at a discount. Mm-hmm. Like, he's still the alpha of this group. Like, he got paid like one.
Is he?
Yes. Yes, he's still the alpha of this group, and I just think that's the discount if you're looking at one. I love Rome Odunze coming out of this draft. I was so excited. He went to Chicago, and then they drafted Luther Burden. I'm just like, that's a lot of mouths to feed, and now I'm really upset.
That's the trouble here. That's kind of why we're talking about the tight end in this one as well. Is that we've got 3 very talented wide receivers and 2 talented tight ends, and we're not even bringing up the running backs that have pass catching ability. So DJ Moore, despite him finishing wide receiver 14 last year, only 31% of his games gave you a top 24 finish. That's rough.
That is really rough.
That's the hard part about it. Now, again, I was out on a lot of the Bears for last year just because of Shane Waldron. Shane Waldron alone just said, why would you be overly excited? I had some shares of it just because, you want some of those pieces. They're talented, but him alone, I knew that there was a ceiling, and it wasn't a tall one. So you kind of got to take that with a grain of salt, but wide receiver 23, he can beat it. He definitely can, but without consistency, will it feel like he beats his ADP?
I think with Ben Johnson coming in, you'll get a little more consistency, and that's why I'm kind of in on DJ Moore, just because if I can draft him right where he's going, I'm not going to reach for him, but if he's I think he's going to be one that kind of falls, and I'll be a buyer at that point because it's just I'm getting a fringe wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 at, basically the wide receiver 2-3 price. And I'm okay with that.
Are you taking Devonta Smith or DJ Moore?
I'm probably taking DJ Moore. And that's very close. It's very, very close. I had to think about that for a second. I'm probably taking DJ Moore, though.
He's going 2 spots ahead of him. But just because A.J. Brown's going at wide receiver 10 and he's kind of pulled back a little bit, I think I'd rather take A.J. Brown and then come back with more than what you could get with Devonta Smith. All right, Odunze, I am very torn on him for this year. I like him in aspects, and then there's other times I'm like, maybe I don't. So wide receiver 34 price tag, I think that's my issue, is I feel like he might end up finishing as a wide receiver 3. And
that's probably the right price. You're paying for exact price, and in fantasy, you want to always get the discounts and the cheap, and I just don't he's the coin flip for this whole offense because if he excels, you just kick yourself in the rear for not taking him. But also, they took Luther Burden, and Ben Johnson took Loveland. He wanted Loveland and he wanted Burden. Those were his guys that he wanted out of the draft. So, kind of makes you leery because he has no loyalty towards Odunze and Moore. He doesn't so he can kind of do his own thing now.
Going around Rome Odunze, you got Calvin Ridley, Jordan Addison, Chris Godwin.
I'd rather have all those guys. I'd rather have all those guys than Rome Odunze.
I could see the argument. It's kind of a coin flip for him and Jordan Addison. Just, you do have questions with the J.J. McCarthy coming in if you do want to lean into that a bit.
Yeah,
but
I lean Odunze more than Addison. It's just because Justin Jefferson is the alpha.
Mm-hmm.
there is a possibility Odunze can lead this team in targets. Like there is a possibility. I can't say that for Addison for the Vikings. It will be Justin Jefferson by a mile.
And last wide receiver we have here is Luther Burden, wide receiver 51. Look, when you say 51, I love the price tag. I'm like, that's great. Getting him that late for what he could bring to this offense. He could be vying for, top 2 in targets on this team. Like you said, that like Ben Johnson brought him in. He could be the Amon. Like there's so many different outcomes for here. Of course, it's a rookie, so I think I'm going to like that wide receiver 51, obviously more in best ball than in um, than in redraft. But
yeah,
the unfortunate part is when you look who he's right by, Egbuka, like him, Higgins, I like him, Trey Harris, I like him. But then you also have some of the guys we're about to talk about: Keon Coleman, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Cooper Kupp. So we're in just an enigma right here of players.
Yeah, I think I'm in redraft. I probably won't be taking a ton of Burden unless he just falls to where it's like, all right, like I'll take him. But I probably won't take him at ADP, and I probably won't reach for him. I just think there's a bunch of other guys where I could see paths a little bit better for them to get more targets, more receptions. That's where I'm at with it. So yeah, I'd rank more like at the price of where they're going. I'd rather have more. I'd rather have, I guess it's between Bird and Odunze in the 2 and 3, and then Loveland's last. Loveland as tight end 10 is just really odd to me. I can't.
Yeah, I like Cole Kmet's ADP better than I mean, obviously it's way lower, but like I like his output of what he would give you from his ADP more than I like Colson Loveland's. DJ Morris I think is my favorite piece here. Wide receiver 23. It's the higher one, but Luther Burden I don't mind that one just because Odunze I do feel like he's kind of right where I have him projected right now.
Yeah, I think you're higher on Bird and I'm higher on Odunze. I think that's what we're sitting at here. So, and I don't hate it though.
All right, off to Indy. No,
Yay.
not for the combine, folks. It's to talk wide receivers, which is weird because there wasn't much to talk about these wide receivers last year. The Colts were the 4th highest target share percentage to the wide receiver position, 71%. It's because they didn't have any tight ends to throw to that were worth throwing to. And I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he's just
not anymore.
Not anymore. That's right. It's changing up here a little bit. So we've got Josh Downs coming in at wide receiver 49. We've got Pittman at 53, Pierce at 72, A.D. Mitchell at wide receiver 83, and of course the rookie Tyler Warren coming in at tight end 11. Do your thing.
Oh boy, Josh Downs is the best receiver on our team. It's not close. He's elite route running, got elite hands. I will probably be taking a lot of Josh Downs in multiple leagues just because I know he's the best receiver. And at wide receiver 49, I think he'll finish as like wide receiver 36. Granted, that's a whole round difference for me, so that's probably why I'm in. Pittman is perfect for half-point PPR. I think he's still the alpha of this group. He's still a leader of this group. He'll be on the field a lot. He'll get a lot of routes run. His back's fine, from my understanding. Alec Pierce is perfect for best ball. He is who you want in best ball, and same with A.D. Mitchell. A.D. Mitchell, I know had a really rough year. I watched a ton of tape on it just because I was like, what am I missing here? There's a lot of times, Brian, he was open. And I mean, he burned DBs, and he is just like hands up, like I am wide open. So we actually have a really talented wide receiver room. We just don't have a talented quarterback, and that's the problem.
Yeah, now we have 2 talented quarterbacks.
Well, God.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson will be competing with the job with Daniel Jones, if y'all forgot, who came to town, add a little competition. I'm all over the place here. Luckily, the investment is next to nothing. Wide receiver 49 is the highest investment you have at Josh Downs. And it's not a whole lot, folks. Even in redraft, you can drop that pick after a week or two. It's no big deal. It's fine.
He's not a part of your meat and potatoes for your building core.
Absolutely. So I do like him a lot in PPR builds. It's going to be hard for me to take a lot of them just because we're hoping Anthony Richardson fixed it. He went to the coach that fixed Josh Allen. I've seen a few videos of him moving his hips a little bit more and his foot placement. That was a lot of his issues. So maybe he can remember in real time, because that's the big issue. He can go do it out there on the practice field saying that's awesome, but I need you to be able to do it in real time in a game and do it consistently. So if he can pull that off, Josh Downs should feast. Michael Pittman should be pretty viable. Alec Pierce, of course, is third in the average depth target distance last year, 21.6 yards. It's money, folks. That is just like, it's touchdowns galore for like where he was. That was awesome. And just yards, yards, yards. AD Mitchell. I've seen the comparisons, like where he finished as far as production this past year. He's in a group of wide receivers where it's like, oh, it's done. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to work. And I hate to make excuses for players, because when history's there. But look at the quarter. Like, the whole reason we're talking about his ceiling is capped was the whole reason that his floor was, there was
Trash.
no floor. Yeah, like there just wasn't. So the amount of passes that were just, I mean, would we have 12 completions in a handful of games? 9 completions in a couple?
Yeah, I think the week one, I think Anthony Richardson went like 12 for 27 with like 250 yards and like 50 yards rushing, and it was like he was QB6.
So
But
it's
yeah,
going
it
to
was
be
a rough game.
Yeah, so it'll be hard for him to do that, but like the success rate, going on Matt Harmon's reception perception, like the success rate that he had on so many of these routes, the amount of times that he was open, just absolutely crushed on, stuff like the slant routes, curl routes, going deep. Like there's something here, and there was a lot of drop balls and just missed passes down the field. So I think we can rectify some of that, and there could be some success. He also had 9 end zone targets last year, caught 0.
Yeah.
So we got a little regression. Give me 3 more touchdowns on the guy, and he could be a viable piece for at least best ball. Dynasty wise, I'm not out on him, because if we have to reset and Anthony Richardson's gone next year, we might get a guy that can throw the ball to him.
Yep. And then Tyler Warren, he's not listed on here. He's tied in 11. I think I did my rankings. He's tied in 12 for me. We are Colts fans, and it's pretty obvious. I'm not trying to be biased in this take. They are going to use him in a lot of different ways. If you watch this tape at Penn State, he will. I bet you he has a rushing touchdown this year.
I'd take it over 1.5.
Yeah, I think like he's going to be utilized. He'll be on the field a lot, and his route running is elite. He's got elite hands. He's a great pass blocker. I understand Anthony Richardson's going to be throwing the football, but I think at the end of the day, though, you and I both watch the games. There is games where Kyle Granson dropped so many passes. Will Mallory dropped passes. Like, I get it. Anthony Richardson has like this, stigma over his head. He's not an accurate passer. There's a lot of guys that drop a lot of balls though for him. It was kind of unfair.
So as far as highest percentage of receivers causing errors on incompletions, the worst team was the Green Bay Packers, who we're about to talk about, and then the third worst team was the Colts. So Anthony Richardson was bad. The receivers did not help him. So if we can have just any sort of progress moving them back to where they should be, we should get more than what we got last year at least. But Tyler Warren, think Taysom Hill as far as lining up. Like, they could put him anywhere. Great comp. Absolutely. I mean, we're not going to see quite the passing that we saw from Taysom Hill.
But he does have passing in his pedigree, though. We saw it in college. Like, there might be a trick play where he does throw a long ball to somebody. So
yeah, I won't be surprised if he has a few passing touchdowns in his career.
I'll probably own a ton of Tyler Warren in redraft leagues, just because it's like he'll keep falling. Oh, he's attached to Anthony Richardson. Gross. Cool. I'll stream him for a couple weeks and see how it goes.
And it might even be the fact that he's attached to Anthony Richardson that I want him, just because the coach knows that too, and they're going to have to get creative to get him the ball. So, Tyler Warren, I do like. Is he my favorite pass catcher of these group that we're talking about at ADP? He might be, just because these wide receivers we're talking about, I'm putting him in as my wide receiver 4, so they're not even cracking my starting lineup most likely.
Yeah. These are all like double flex plays, kind of an ordeal if you play in this kind of league. So,
if you did have to take a wide receiver at value, or at ADP, who
at ADP, full point PPR Downs, half point PPR Pittman.
Okay, cool. I like that. Outside of best ball, because Alec Pierce would be the guy in best ball.
Alec Pierce and AD Mitchell, I'm taking a ton in best ball.
Cool. Off to Green Bay. Let's talk some Packers. Talk about a frustrating room. And Christian Watson even helped us out here. He's not even in conversation for this list.
Thank God.
Okay, watch it there. I said it before you had to. But yeah, he tore his ACL toward the end of last year, so we're not going to see
Not
a lot of
playing.
playing. Yeah, we
Not
won't see
playing.
a lot of him this year.
Don't even think about it, Brian.
Jaden Reed, wide receiver 49. Matthew Golden, the rookie, first round pick for the Packers. Wide receiver 42. Romeo Dobbs, contract year, wide receiver 68. Dontavian Wicks, wide receiver 85. Not
And
a
then
lot
Tucker
to unpack
Kraft.
here. Oh yeah, Tucker Kraft. You had tight end 13. He's going at pick 133, and then Luke Musgrave's there as well.
Yeah, Luke Musgrave is irrelevant to me. I'm sorry. Tucker Kraft is actually tight end 9 for me, so I am probably taking a lot of Tucker Kraft. I like Tucker Kraft. Because again, like I know what I'm getting out of Tucker Kraft. 2 receptions, 20 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Cool.
Whoop, whoop.
I will put that in my lineup. And there might be games where he gets 4 receptions for 30 yards. Don't care. His boom games are great. And at tight end, I punt on it 9 times out of 10. Tucker Kraft's a perfect guy where I'll take all day long. Now onto the wide receivers. I really like Jaden Reed. I think you're getting him at the biggest discount possible. I know they took Matthew Golden. I think Matthew Golden has really fun stuff in his tape, but I kind of root for Texas. I like their college football program. There's a lot of inconsistencies with him. I understand he was the fastest guy, but I genuinely believe Jaden Reed's the best receiver of this team. And getting a wide receiver 49 is a discount.
I'm not knocking his skills as a wide receiver. I thought he was a good talent. I liked him coming out. It's just, wide receiver 43. Yeah, he'll. Let me watch that. He should beat his ADP. But when only 33%, he was the number 1 wide receiver after week 1, folks. I had an amazing first week. So a hot start. I was super excited. I had a decent amount of shares of him. But when then you finish the year, only 33% of your games you finish as a top 24 receiver. That's a wasted pick. It's gone. It doesn't matter at that point. No matter how good he blows up on the rest of those 3-4 games this season, you're cooked if you're starting him week to week. So that's my issue here. Now, I am on the side that I think we're going to see more passing from the Packers this year. I'm projecting out more of that than less of the running that they had from the running game. They're still going to utilize both running backs, or I think they'll use both running backs this year. Yeah. I think we'll see a good amount of that. But I want to see more on the passing game, and I kind of have them projected that way. And with Christian Watson being gone, obviously they brought in Matthew Golden, but I really thought we could see it channeled through Tucker Kraft and Jaden Reed. But Matthew Golden adds a little something in there. We had some speed, but he's a very different player than Jaden Reed.
It's also weird for me because Matthew Golden's wearing number 22, and I don't like my wide receivers wearing odd numbers. Don't do that, please.
What happened to the 80s? What happened? I loved
the 80s. 1, 2, 3, 4, not 22. That's weird.
I love my guys. 87, 88, 89, 81. Maybe it's just because they're all Colts wide receivers.
Yeah, exactly. Greatness all across the board there. No, yeah. I get it. He's the new toy, and they took him in the first round, and I completely understand that. I think you'll be really disappointed with Golden's draft compared to you would drafting Reed. And you're getting him almost a round later.
Yeah, one's going as wide receiver 42, one's going at 43. That's...
Is it 43 or 49?
49, sorry.
Okay, I was like, whew.
49, sorry. I'm reading the wrong numbers here. But yeah, it's... Oh, man. I don't know if I like any of them. I'm sure I'm going to take a piece because you kind of have to go after something in this offense when it's that cheap. I'd rather have a piece from the Packers offense than the Colts offense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Better consistency to Jordan Love and everything else like that. I think Dobbs is going to be I think Dobbs and Wicks, when Dobbs has that classic 8 receptions, 60-yard game, everyone's going to run to the waiver wire. And same with Dontavian Wicks, when he has the 6 reception, 2 touchdown game, you're going to blow your fab on it. And you're just like, I found the wide receiver for the Packers. And the truth is that I don't think it's either of those guys. I think they'll just have spike weeks. I think it's going to come down to they're going to either force feed Jaden Reed to be the guy because he's coming up on a contract, if not mistaken, this offseason or next offseason.
Next offseason, yeah.
Yeah.
Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson's this year.
Yeah, so I just think they're going to try to hone in the future of Jaden Reed and Matthew Golden being the guys. I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Well, we're not even talking about the 3rd-round pick from this year's draft, Stavion Williams out of TCU. There's some draft capital there. That's day 2. I mean, he's going as wide receiver 110,
Oh my
215.
goodness.
When I'm doing correlated Green Bay stacks, I've taken Savion Williams or
I've
two
taken him a couple times. Yeah.
because he does what he adds. So he's a big fella. I believe he is 6'5".
He's like a tight end, a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's very big. He's fast. He even gets a lot of, I think, Cordero Patterson. Like, he gets rushing work as
That's
well.
not what I want to think of somebody
Well,
else.
I just mean as far as the play style. Hey, Cordero, he had a
Yes.
great year. What was that, like a top 15, 16 year with Arthur Smith?
Yeah, didn't he only know like two routes? It was go route and slant or something like that. It was just like his two bread and butters or whatever.
It's two more than you know, buddy.
That's
No.
true.
But yeah, I don't know. Best ball, like I said, if it's a correlated stack, that's usually where I'm adding those last, like, around 18, 19, 20. Yeah, just something interesting. He's going to be fun to watch more than anything. I don't know how fantasy relevant he will be, though.
If Savion Williams gets hypes, he will drastically boost up in front of like Romeo Dobbs. Like if he just has this like spectacular camp and was like Savion Williams, he's the guy. He's doing it. Like all these like touchdown catches in the end zone from like the second quarterback or whatever. He's gonna go ahead of Dobbs. It's gonna be hilarious.
Right. Yeah, well, oh, shoot. Dobbs is 68.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with Dobbs. PPR, I don't mind the shot, I guess, just because that is the more his style. But
He's on the field the most though, right? Out of the receivers, yeah. So
that's
it's
what
just
I
like
was. Yeah,
it's
that's
so
kind of
weird.
how much 11 personnel are they going to have, though? Or are they just going to be running? Yeah, it'll be an interesting situation with the Packers. I guess your favorite pick here, you said it is Jaden Reed.
Is Jaden Reed, yeah.
It's probably going to be mine too.
Really is
Just
Tucker Craft. I like if you had to like I understand it's wide receivers, but like I like Tucker Craft the most out of all the Packers.
I waver a lot on Tucker Craft. I came into it like January, February. He was like one of my immediate targets for like late round tight end this year, and I've pulled back a little bit more. And I need to go back through the numbers I was looking at to see why, but I don't know.
I'm a magnet towards him. I keep taking him in best ball as like my first tight end. If I punt on tight end, I'm just like, this is great. Took him as like my tight end. Yep, take it all the time. Mine.
Alrighty, let's get to this next one. It is the 49ers wide receiver room. Oh man,
Gross.
this one's it's
gross.
way different than what we thought we were going to be looking at last year. So Brandon Aiyuk,
Ow.
wide receiver 46, Jennings, wide receiver 36, Pearsall 41, and then Kittle you have at tight end 3. He's actually the first 49er to go pass catcher to be going out of this group.
Yeah. I get why Kittle is getting a ton of hype. I get it. He's now the probably lone. Well, when the season starts, he will be the best pass catcher on this team. I think people need to remember he is utilized in a lot of different ways where he might just be a part of the run game the entire game where they just want to run down their throats and use other guys. So, like, I get why he's tight end 3. I just think you'll be burned at his ADP for his price.
I don't mind him. I'm
Okay.
taking him way more than I'm taking like a Sam Laporta who's going somewhat close to him.
I'm not on Sam Laporta, so
I was gonna say yeah, but like just as far as the tight end, if you're not taking one of the first 2 guys, this is the last one I'm taking before I'm completing punting position. Just because we have question marks with Jauan Jennings, with Brandon Aiyuk, Ricky Pearsall, I think he should be good and be consistent. But Kittle, like on a per route basis, he's just untouchable. This guy is absolutely incredible. Like you said, a lot of it's because he's not running routes half the time because he's doing a lot of blocking, so he has that advantage to him. But I'm not going to fray away from Kittle. Ricky Pearsall's going at 74. He's going at 50 overall. I don't know. I think it's a coin flip for him if he's my favorite pass catcher in the bunch. But Brandon Aiyuk tore an ACL, PCL, and meniscus. This is a nasty tear.
Yeah, the screams don't touch me. Like,
Not
I mean,
this
unless
year.
you have an IR spot in your leagues, like
Even
maybe
then,
a late
though,
round punt.
like but he's not a late round pick. He's going at pick 82.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna when it comes down to draft season, he'll move down just because the reports will come out saying he'll probably be ready by week. What's his speculation? Like what, week 6 they said?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. So like he's going. Would you take him or Jaden Reed?
Oh, Jaden Reed.
Him or Khalil Shakir?
Healthy. I will take the healthy receiver.
Are you taking him or Josh Downs?
Okay, now you're being mean.
These guys are all going within like 8.
Probably
8
Yeah.
spots. Darnell Mooney's going after him. I want
I'm taking
Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I'm on the Darnell Mooney
Oh
train.
yeah. I
Yeah.
want him over all those guys.
Yeah.
I'll take Luther Burden over Aiyuk. Like,
Yeah. For me, before Ricky Pearsall pulled his hammy in these OTAs, I was like, give me a lot of Ricky. I'm all for it. Now it's like I gotta wait to see how he goes in camp to see if everything's good to go. Because again, I have a good friend who tells me, no one's injury prone unless you're pulling a hamstring. Hamstring pulls are injury prone. If he pulls it again, that's where we get a little dicey.
yeah, the soft tissue ones you don't see them coming because they happen just so often with some of these
Yep.
guys, and that's not something I like to mess with. Whereas ACLs, that's a fluke something or other usual for most of these guys. But at the same time, I don't want the extreme one. So I'm not touching on you. Jauan Jennings going at wide receiver 36.
That's rich.
I want to be in on him.
I do too, but I just can't. I feel like he just has games where he disappears.
Like, he only played 8 games over 70% snaps last year just because they had still
No choice.
Well, I mean, just like he didn't play enough of them in some of those games
Yeah.
because they still had Aiyuk and all that. He still averaged over 81 yards a game, 2.4 yards per route. Those are good numbers, man.
Those are good numbers, man.
It's contract year for him too. He only signed a 2-year a couple of years ago, so like playing for some money.
Yeah, there's something to play for him. I was so upset when Ricky pulled his hamstring because I thought he was a big discount. I was like, you're getting a guy going into sophomore season, first round draft grade, ended the season really well, was getting all the targets, just getting all those like underneath routes. Like I was just like, give me all of this all day long. It's like He's gonna be a check down Charlie kind of a guy. And yeah, it sucks he pulled his hamstring because I was really in love with him. Jauan Jennings, like I think there are guys who are really in love with him, and I just know I probably won't draft him. I think he will be overreached for his ADP because they see him as a wide receiver 1 for San Francisco.
Yeah, it's rough. It's funny, like we're talking to these players that were kind of like do you want him or Odunze?
Jennings?
Yeah.
Oh, probably Jennings. Slightly.
Odunze's going 2 spots ahead of him. Olave or Jennings?
I'm a big Olave guy. I get he goes to the hospital a lot, but I think Olave's an elite route runner. So give me Olave.
I was gonna say at least when he's out, not to play him.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers or Ricky Pearsall?
I'm a Jacoby Myers believer. I think I think you and I both are Jacoby Myers believers.
But I like Pearsall this year too.
Like, I do too. Until he pulled his hamstring, I was all in on Ricky Pearsall. Now I'm kind of like, damn it, I got to really wait to see how this goes.
I'm also back in on CMC this year, so like a lot of targets are going back that direction. Whereas we had Jordan Mason last year, so
I am too. But like, man, tendonitis in the Achilles just sounds like it's gonna snap any day now.
I mean, George Kittle talked about having it too, so maybe we reassess some of that if that's there.
I really hope he's taking his Wheaties and Tren and HGH all at once right now.
Just mixing up a little blender, just shoot
a little
it down.
blender. Yep.
The Niners, because they did finish so bad last year, they do have one of the best strength of schedules this year.
Yeah.
Their defense is also significantly worse than it has been in a while. They do have Robert Saleh coming back there as the defensive coordinator, but if the talent's not there, we could see this team in a little bit more back and forth. Even though they have easier schedule, so they're going to be scoring the points, they might need to score even more points because their defense isn't able to stop them, which could give you more of the passing game as well, which I'm excited about. I guess needless to say, I'm attacking a lot of this team. I love some CMC. I like Pearsall. I like Kittle. Jennings, I'll probably dabble with. Purdy, give it to me all day.
Yeah, their over-under, wasn't it 9.5 or 10.5 wins, something like that?
Yeah.
And I looked at their schedule, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of right. They play a very big schedule. Like they'll probably split their division like they always do, and then they had like a bunch of like cakewalks like games. I was like, oh yeah, they could definitely get 10 wins pretty easily.
Yeah, they're definitely one I'm hitting the over on right now on some of my my season long bets. So your wide receiver or your player that you think is going to finish above ADP?
Man, if Ricky is healthy, it's Ricky Pearsall. If it's not, I'll probably say Jennings just because he'll be the only one on the field. I can't see Kittle finishing as tight end 3. Like I know, I think you're overpaying ADP.
I could see him finishing as 1 overall. I think it's Pearsall has an easier chance of finishing above 41 than he does of 3. So give me Pearsall as my favorite at cost.
I think I said my highest ceiling I could see Kittle was 2. I just can't see him as the tight end 1 of the year. I know there's that possibility. I can't. My floor was like tight end 8.
Nothing's impossible at tight end.
That's true.
All right, folks. Well, bonus. We're going to talk about just one last team here. Somebody brought it up. Somebody forgot to put it on. So let's talk about some Patriots here. Drake May, quarterback. I think there's quite a bit of hype on him. Some exciting sleeper-ish as far as quarterback goes. But let's talk about his receiver room. Got Stefon Diggs coming off the ACL, age 31. Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams, the second-round rookie pick. Kayshawn Boutte, Mac Hollins, the shoeless wonder, and Kendrick Bourne.
And Jalen Polk.
He is 7th on the depth chart, along with Jalen Baker. Both their wide receivers they took in the 2nd and 3rd round last year.
It was 3rd round and 5th round, yeah.
No, Jalen Polk was a 2nd round pick.
He was a 2nd round pick?
I think he was like the 4th pick in the 2nd round. He was.
Yeah, I know he's from the Washington trio of McMillan, him, and Adunze.
Because I took him at like the 301 in a dynasty because I'm like, that's early draft capital. I didn't like him, but I'm like, that's just too high not to take him. Guess who already got to drop him in dynasty? It's just
yikes! You already dropped him.
But it's a really shallow bench in the league, so it was choices had to be made. I picked up. I don't remember. It was one of the rookies this year. I'm like, yeah, I'm taking the upside on the rookie over Jalen Polk. But anyway, you're essentially out on Stefon Diggs at this point. Cost isn't too bad from what I see on him, but you kind of touched it on our live stream there. But give me your thoughts.
Everyone's saying week 4. That's what they're clamoring their hopes for. He's already took the brace off. He's running. He's doing sprints. You're saying week 1?
I've heard reports of week 1.
Okay. If it's week 4, I'm out. If it's week 1, it kind of changes things. I think at week 1 now it becomes we've seen what Stefon Diggs has done. He looked pretty good at Houston. They utilized him in, I thought, like the correct way. Like he was a part of a really good trio with him, Tank Dell, and obviously Nico Collins. If he's ready week 1, it kind of changes things. But it's week 4, it's like Kayshawn Boutte actually had a really good end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's one of those, like it's a true anomaly. Like at the end of the day, like if I had to go with the gamble, I'm taking Kyle Williams just because it's like I actually liked his tape at Washington State. I thought he was a really good wide receiver, so I'll probably take that gamble with him. He's like wide receiver 49 or 50? What is it?
58?
Yeah, I'll take the gamble.
He's going. So I like where he's going. He's going with Marvin Mims, Rashad Bateman, Rashid Shaheed, Keon Coleman.
Yeah,
for what he could be, because
exactly
one of those players you could easily drop whenever you want. But what he could be in that bunch is significantly higher. That's just my issue with Stefon Diggs. So if he starts on the pup list, it's easy. I'm not touching him. There's no reason to. But if you can get him back in week 1, week 2, he's going right in front of Brandon Aiyuk, who isn't supposed to be back until late October at least. So. In that value, I like him. I like him more than Khalil Shakir. I like him more than Matthew Golden.
If he's ready week 1, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just the target volume that this guy could absolutely see, what we see him consistently do. I'm still leaving it. I'm not saying it. I haven't closed the door, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'll play devil's advocate too. He's over 30. He's coming off an ACL tear. Wide receivers usually hit the hill falls at like once they hit 30. So
yeah. Demario Douglas, talented guy, but like a talented wide receiver 3 on a team, not a wide receiver 3 for fantasy. So no relevance there. If anything, it just helps Drake May. Kayshawn Boutte, I don't know if I'll ever have.
I don't think so either. I think he's a perfect best ball guy. I have a hard time saying like in redraft, like, yeah, I'm gonna take Kayshawn Boutte. And yeah. I have like the stones and hope that he's gonna finish as like the wide receiver 2 for this Patriots team or whatever. I'm out.
And the last guy, not a wide receiver, but Hunter Henry, the tight end. We saw some little bit of magic from him last year. Little flashes here and there. He's never going to be greatness, but as far as a streamable tight end, he will have that.
He's going to be everyone's favorite streaming tight end every week. He gives like it when your tight end goes on a bye. Oh, it's Hunter Henry, Old Faithful.
It's going to be one of those. Drake May's going to be playing so well, and maybe there's not exactly a piece of his that's doing well, but because Drake May's doing awesome, we got to grab something.
I'll gamble. It's like, all right, yeah, he's doing great. He's throwing over 200 yards a game, a couple touchdowns here and there. Yeah, I want a piece of that. Yeah.
But he's got that rushing floor of 45, 60 yards a game, and that's truly what's boosting him up, and it's not necessarily through his arm. And also, he's going to have Trey Hendrickson there. I mean,
You say Trey Hendrickson?
no, oh my God, yeah.
I was like,
Travion Henderson.
it's like, I was like, when did he go?
As it came out of my mouth, I was like, wait, no, yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Travion Henderson. And then, I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, he catches some balls too, but
he's going to be the running. He will be the downhill runner. Trayvon Henderson is going to be, I think with Ramondre Stevenson, he is still going to get work. I think people are just completely dismissing that. He fumbled and everything else like that. He's under contract, and Trayvon's not built to be a 3-down back.
Yeah, and
I know they're saying that, but I don't see it.
Josh McDaniels, they got him back there in New England, and he's one of those consistently top 5, top 10 in passes to the running back.
When I hear of McDaniels going back and Trayvon Henderson, you know what that screams to me? And who was viable for his entire career? James White.
James White, yeah.
James White was like, you could put him in your flex.
He was top 8, top 10 one year.
Yeah, because he was just getting a ton of receiving work and always getting a touchdown. I literally see Trayvon Henderson's ceiling being a better James White.
I've got him a lot higher than I've seen other people have him right now, and I'm trying to check myself.
Where are you at with him? Do I have to go look and make fun of you right now?
I don't know if I have him.
Let's go look. Let's go make fun of Brian really quickly for running backs. Where are you at with Travion? You have his RB20. It's not terrible.
Well, he was closer to 18, and I kind of pulled him back a little bit.
I have him at I haven't need to fix it. I think I have him at 23, 24, so I'm not that far behind you.
I guess I've just seen a lot of rankings are starting to come out. I've seen him in that 28 to 24 range, or as a high-end wide receiver 3, and I've kind of got him a middling wide receiver 2 running.
If I had to do a split of half point and full point, he's much higher. Half point, he's much lower.
100, yeah, same, 100%. All right, man, let's get out of here. We got to shut this down. Coming next to you, folks, we got OTA news. We're going to have to bring that to you, get you all locked in with everything that's been happening. Till then, where can the people find you?
Find me on X at Too Much B-Milk, and then the Fantasy Football Advice Network.
And it's at Too Much _Brian on Twitter. It's at Too Much Brian everywhere else. You want more from us, come check out the podcast. It's Apple, it's Spotify. The other YouTube page, Too Much Fantasy Football. We've got fun starting off over there. But until next time, see you.